Whew. Whoa, excuse me. Oh. Hey, how's it going? Want some coffee? Oh, I see you already have your coffee. Great. Well, I probably shouldn't just be sitting here, first thing in the morning, but sometimes when I walk in the shop, I just want to sit with some coffee and kind of think through my day and decide what I'm going to do. So I don't know if you need that or not, that little beginning moment of the day to just kind of settle in. My best friend that I've known since we were teenagers probably has ADHD. We didn't really know what that was. But I view it as a huge superpower. He gets so much work done. He just sleeps at random times and he just works. It's like he works and crashes, but he gets a lot done. I'm a little bit more steady and scheduled, and I don't have that kind of energy. I just never have, but I love it. I think people that have it should not be looking at it the way it can be portrayed, as like there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's the way you're made. It's how you expend energy and get energy and relate to life. It's I think too many times we try to distill people down to as much sameness as possible, and if there's any deviation to what is considered by some random people as normal, well, we need to fix that, and probably with drugs. I don't agree. I don't agree. We're just all too different. You can't just plug us all into normal, Just be yourself. Anyway, speaking of being myself, I should be working on Mr. E today. So what I'm going to do is use that energy and do something else. Did you ever have like some sort of task that you have to do? I'm like, it's needed. You got to, but you don't want to do it for whatever reason. You're not in the mood, or you just don't have the mental energy, or you just don't like the task, whatever it is. And so you find other things that are also important that need to be done, and you expend kind of like double energy on those. You get a lot done. You get a ton accomplished. Basically because you're trying to justify not doing what you should be doing by being extra busy doing things that, well, they need to be done, but maybe you shouldn't be doing them right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do things that I shouldn't be doing right now, and it'll be double energy, which will be double fun. Makes sense to me. And of course, that's Mr. F. I'm just going to do that, okay? After I finish my coffee, we'll walk over, pick up where we left off, and see what we can do, Oh, it's still too hot. I guess that means I'll just be sitting here a few more minutes. So anyway, make yourself comfortable. So, if you remember from the last episode, we ended with the brake lights not working, but we did figure out the turn signals. Well, I believe I figured out the brake light problem. And I believe we will find it was related to the turn signal problem as well. So if you remember, the turn signal problem was a bad flasher relay. It fixed the problem. So you might have seen me, we'll come in closer, I'll show you. You might have seen me having this laid out on here because I was really trying to figure out what was working, what wasn't. I checked the brake fuse again, even though I checked it 5 times, and it was still good. So I decided to trace the brake signal up through this. This is a trailer. Factory 5 gives this to you. It's a trailer brake-like converter. It basically takes it from a 5-wire to a 4-wire. So you have your ground, which I believe is the white. You have your parking lights, you know, when you turn the lights on, that's the brown or the tail lights. Then you have the yellow and the green, which are your left and right turn signals. These are all signals coming from the car, from the harness and the switches. The red one is the brake light wire, signal wire, that comes essentially from the brake pedal. When you hit the brake pedal, the switch allows the power to cycle through it, sends it to here, sends it to your lights out back. So I tested this wire as I pressed the brakes, and I had 12 volts to it. So then I tested, basically what it does then is it takes this signal and converts it to the left and right turn signal wires, so it'll brighten them at the same time. And I was getting no signal out to these. So I immediately determined, hey, something's wrong with this. And it all started making sense. I've never had one of these go bad on trailers or anything, pigtails, but I did a little just brief research and they do. And when they go, they just go. There's reasons. You may have a bad ground or a short or, you know, there's reasons it happens. Over time they wear out. But of course this is new. I got it from Factory 5. It came with the kit. I wired it in. It worked. So this is my theory. When the car was at the place being painted and they were unplugging lights, you know, because I had it all in, I wanted them to see how things fit so they would know how to body work it. When they were taking things apart, there had to have been something back here. They must have had the key on or a switch on, the battery hooked up, and it shorted out while they were doing it. And it blew my relay and it blew my converter at the same time. That is my theory. That's why both didn't work. That's why it was only related to the back end. So I, of course, went to my local auto parts store, purchased the exact same thing that came from Factory 5. It's a Hopkins LED incandescent trailer converter harness. And I'm going to just wire it in place of this one, and that should fix the lights. So yeah, this is just a part of life, you know. Don't ever give up. Things happen for a reason. This is electricity, this is mechanics. If something fails, there is a reason behind it, and you can find it out. Sometimes you just need a good night's sleep. You know, your brain's just frustrated, and you walk away from it, and then all of a sudden, you're like, yep, I think it makes sense to me now. So let me wire this in real quick, and then we'll test the brake lights together and see what happens. Okay, well, I won't finish melting those yet, because let's see if the lights work. You just hang out back there and let me know if they come on. They should come on without ignition being on or anything, because that's the way brake lights work, so. All right, ready? No? What's happening? I saw them go on. Dang it. What's happening? Nothing. Unbelievable. Why? Why nothing? Stand by. Everything's okay. Oh, the lights, you know, they just didn't come on, did they? I stepped away for a minute. Appreciate your patience. Came back. It really was just about a minute because my brain was furiously coming up with alternate solutions. And so I dove right back in and started diagnosing in earnest. Let's walk over and, well, I'll explain it to you, okay? Grab some popcorn, maybe some energy drink. You might need it. This is what happened. So when the lights didn't work, as you saw, I thought to myself, how can two of these be bad? I mean, it's possible I just blew this one, but let's just slide over here. I grabbed this old one that was allegedly bad. I wired it up to 2 lights with battery power, and I bench tested it. I put power to the brake, which should activate the green and yellow. When you've got a ground, I put the ground on the ground. And when I put power to the red with this old one, I got 2 bright lights. So then I put it to the yellow, I got 1 bright light. I put it to the green, got the other bright light. Put it to the red again, brake lights. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with this. So, stands to reason, there's nothing wrong with that one either. So, armed with that knowledge, oops, hang on a second. Hold on, we've got technical difficulties happening. Apologize if it's making bad noises. Okay. Technical difficulty averted. All right. So what I did was I decided to check my grounds first. So I disconnected the ground going back to the lights from the connector. I attached a ground to a known ground point on the frame, and also ran a line from the battery itself, negative side, and attached it to the ground here. Then I know my system's got good ground. I know it, there's no drop off, no problem. Didn't make any difference. So from there, I just started taking 1 wire at a time and testing each one to see if there was any difference in the function as I would do it, just to see if there was 1 wire that was causing the problem. When I got to the red wire, I disconnected it and I tested first again. I tested this wire coming from the pedal and I had 12.4 volts coming out of it. I ran my wire from the battery and I tested it, 12.4. So under pedal, 12.4, wire from the battery, 12.4. I hooked up the wire from the battery to here that runs through there, and I had brake lights. My brake lights illuminated. When I connected this, brake lights, disconnect, no brake lights. So I tested it on this side with my signals. I got left, I got right, running the battery, just straight from the battery. So I have 12.4 from here when the pedal's depressed. When I put 12.4 to here, I have brake lights. When I connect the two, I have no brake lights. So tell me all about that. I am feeding the same amount of power through a different source. One time I get lights every time, and one time I never get lights. So the plot thickens. When I had these disconnected and no power attached to any of them, I tested the brake pedal, and lo and behold, I had brake lights. Keep in mind, this bundle here of wires is only going to the back. This bundle of wires here is only going to the inside. When this is not connected, the source from the pedal, I have brake lights when I press the pedal. When I connect it to this, no brake lights. When I connect this to power, I have brake lights. Everything else is functioning properly. This is a brake light issue. So I thought to myself, well, I don't need this. Why do I need this? I've got 4 wires in, 4 wires out. This isn't doing anything. Somehow my system is accepting it. So I took this away completely, and I ended up with some sort of backfeeding. So when my ignition switch is on, basically key on, I had like a faint light coming out of those bulbs. It didn't affect the function of anything. There was just some sort of backfeeding happening when the ignition with key on. So I thought, well, that's weird. Let me reconnect this with only the 4 wires, because as we know, my brake lights are working now with just this, not going anywhere. And it solved that dim light with key on problem. Now lights are off unless I turn them on, or unless the signal's on, or unless the brakes are on. They're working properly, running through this, but I got no brake signal running through it, 0%. Brake signal is doing something else magical. It's Wi-Fiing its way over to there. So the only thing that I've thought of so far, and maybe some of you would like to posit an explanation, a theory, keeping in mind it will only ever be a theory unless it is tested and proven to be fact, which is not going to happen very soon, because as long as it's working, I'm happy. It doesn't seem to be causing any harm to anything. I could dive into, well, why is it doing it? And maybe sometime I will, but not today. But theories would be appreciated. My personal theory is it's somehow feeding through the absent hazard switch, like stuff. I don't know. I didn't even think of it, but I did not wire a hazard switch anywhere. So, you know, if I'm broke down on the side of the road, there's no way for me to put the hazards on. It was oversight. It didn't even cross my mind at the time. It's something that I can add now. It'll be more difficult, but I can do that. But it's all I can think of. When I'm pressing the pedal, somehow it's feeding through the hazard circuit. I don't know. All I do know is that when I disconnect the flasher relay, my brake lights still work. So anyway, love to hear what you think, but it's a win. We have brake lights, we have signal lights, we still have a trailer converter mostly plugged in. I'm just gonna put this all away very neatly, and we're gonna go down the road. So had the jeweler call me. I brought the VIN tag to a jeweler to have them, you know, engrave. Apparently, that's who has to do it, a jeweler, because there's a specific machine. All the engraving nowadays is laser engraving, which doesn't work for those metal plates. So a jeweler can engrave it for you at great cost. I think $125 is what they charged me. I maybe could have shopped it around, but I was so relieved after the 4th place that I stopped at, I just said, yep, go ahead and do it. So they called me and said that it's ready to go. So I'll pick that up and get that fastened to the car. And that's 2 more things left to do, is the alignment and the inspection. So the inspection isn't a safety inspection. It's essentially to check your components and paperwork and make sure you didn't steal components to put in your car to make a car. You know, it's all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, okay. That's the news so far. We'll just keep at it and see what more magic happens. I mean, the oil leak healed, and now I have Wi-Fi brake lights. So it's great. Well, you ready to go for a rip? Well, that's not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. Because I already did. I know I should have waited for you and taken you along. Hey, let me get out of the car real quick. I've been practicing this, you know, to try to be as graceful as possible, not to make any dad noises as I'm doing it, you know, no grunting, no unnecessary wheezing, nothing like that. Okay, let me explain, okay? I just thought after I got the brake lights fixed, I was going to jump back on my other projects, because really I should have been doing those instead of working on the brake lights, but you know, I get a thought stuck in my head and I can't get it out. So, so I thought, hey, the brake lights are fixed. Why don't I just take it for a quick rip? You know, I've never driven it in its current state. I thought maybe 10, 15 miles, I'll come back, just make sure everything is happy, working. I know I should have waited for you, but it was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. I thought I can come back and, you know, another day we'll go out together and it'll be fun. Well, about 9 miles in, Mr. F died as I was making a turn. Cranked him back up again, you know, cranked up, drove another mile, died again at the next turn. So I pulled off the side of the road and took the hood off. You know, oil looked good, no leaks, no smoke. The water temp was good, the oil pressure was good, the alternator was alternating. I couldn't find any reason, like no reason. So I cranked it up again and it cranked like, and then it cranked up and went. I was like, man, that's really weird. Went about another half a mile and it died again. And at that point I was like, I probably should just get a tow home. You know, I don't know what's happening here. Of course, my mind is going, my engine seized up, even though it's not overheated and I have fresh, clean oil on the dipstick and, you know, I have oil pressure. Seems impossible that an engine could blow up and not smoke or nothing, you know, but your mind always goes to that because you spent so many labor-intensive hours on something and you just think, well, it's ruined now. But I don't think it is. A 15-minute trip, let's just say, turned into about a 4.5-hour ordeal. First tow truck got canceled. Second tow truck was going to take so long, I was like, well, my wife's going to be coming by here any minute by this time. And she just picked me up and took me home. I got the trailer, went back, and I had a bunch of good Samaritans. The car community is great. Bunch of good Samaritans stop. Do you need help? And of course, every time I was like, I've got someone coming. You know, I didn't have a hat. I didn't have water with me. I was woefully unprepared to sit in the sun for 3 hours. Anywho, a really nice guy stopped. Actually, he had stopped earlier, asked if I needed help. He was in his pickup truck. I said, no, I'm good. Well, when I got back with the trailer, he pulled up in this, all I can describe it as is like a tea bucket, a narrow-tired tea bucket, except, I mean, it wasn't exactly, but you get the picture, except the front was stretched and it had a Viper V10 engine. I was like, this dude is my people. So he helped me load it on my trailer, which of course the winch didn't work. He went and got another battery that he had at his house, still didn't work, realized it was a loose connection. It was a day, I'll just say it was a day. You might say, well, that's well deserved because you didn't wait for us. Well, guess who would have been sitting out there for 4 hours with me? So, you're welcome. Anyway, I am not going to, what am I not going to do? I'm not going to know what I'm going to say next. So, what I am going to do is put the tester on it, code reader, and see what code it throws. Just maybe can point me in the right direction. It possibly could be insufficient ground, could be a failing coil possibly, but with the slow start and plenty of juice in the battery and in the system, like my gauge was showing great coming off the alternator, possibly my connections to the starter, don't know. Something, for some reason it was not wanting to run, and I'm suspecting it's electrical, because mechanically the boxes are being checked. Okay. So we'll dive into it. You know, I got to take you along because, well, not literally because you didn't come with me, I know. just give it a rest, okay? I feel bad enough as it is. And see, I lost my train of thought. Just totally lost it now. Thank you. What was I saying? I don't know. Anyway, electrical. Oh yeah, taking you along with me on the journey of things going wrong. Whenever you build something, I have this irrational expectation that if I put it together with logic and skill, it will work for me the first time, every time. Well, guess what? Life has a different plan than I do, and that's not how it works. So sometimes it works, but sometimes you miss something, or you maybe didn't have a piece of knowledge that you needed and you did it wrong, or you did everything right, but something failed. You know, you don't know. We're gonna find out together. So, yeah, just stick around and watch me buzz around the vehicle trying to figure it out. I'll bring you in when the light bulb moment happens. So, yeah, you'll see it too, light bulb. Well, you know what you didn't see? You didn't see the light bulb. There was no light bulb. There was some kind of flickering of brain waves, but not enough to really light the bulb. Okay, I'm just gonna walk you through real quick what I did, what happened, and then what the next step is. So, in the absence of light bulb moments, I will say I had a couple, but they proved fruitless. So, we kind of walked through everything. So, started with fuel pressure. I have fuel pressure. I even unhooked the line to verify. I have power to my injectors. I can actually smell fuel when I'm cranking, and when I pull a plug, it's a little dampish, so I'm getting fuel. But I did check the signal wire on the injectors as well. It was pulsing. So then we moved on to spark. Well, I had spark, the spark plugs. I had spark at the coil. I had the pip signal, which basically is a signal from the computer, or that it's reading. Don't hold me to this, okay? I'm not a scientist. But essentially, the distributor has a pickup for that signal that isn't just timing the pulse to the spark plugs, it's also timing the pulse to the injectors. And of course, the computer is taking that signal and optimizing it, I guess, and sending it back, and everything is supposed to work. So I checked that. I had it. I had the right signals. I had spark. I thought, well, maybe I'm just not getting enough power. You know, I had tested the coil. It tested good. I had spark. I took the cap off the distributor. I had a little, you know, I'd say corrosion, you know, kind of white flaky on the cap and rotor, which I cleaned off. But again, I had spark. So I thought maybe I'm not getting enough power because my battery's in the trunk. It's kind of far away from the starter. So I ran another line from the battery to the starter. It actually made the starter happier, but it didn't help anything, you know, as far as my problem goes. So I checked the ignition module. Fine. I tested the ignition switch. Tested fine. I checked all of the fuses, probably 20 times. Fine. Relays, fine. I have this little cheapy code reader. I don't have a scope for anything like this. You know, we kind of deal in older stuff here. If I need a scope, I have a mechanic buddy that I can take it to. But it wouldn't, my reader wouldn't connect with my computer. I took my computer out and disassembled it and just inspected it, cleaned it, everything. There's nothing visually, you know, nothing is shorted out, burned up, you know, nothing like that. Everything looked good. So I put that back together. After each one of these tests that tested good, I tried to start the car again. It's the same, like no change at all in how it is not starting. So it's cranking over, but it's not starting. So, you know, engines, spark, air, fuel. I even thought, I know I have fuel, but let's just top off the tank. So I topped off the tank. Again, no difference. That was a Hail Mary. So I did what you should never do. Okay? Don't do this. I know this. I was at kind of a weak point, a very low point, and I made some bad decisions. I basically started shotgunning parts at it. You know? Boom. Spray parts at it. So I put a new coil on. I put a new distributor on. I put a new ignition module on. All of which tested fine, by the way. There was no reason for me to do that other than sheer frustration with my situation. None of that made any difference. By the way, they're still on the car, and the ones that the engine was running on before I have kept because as far as I know, they're just fine. So they may come in handy later. I don't know, you know. You should never, if you have a bad part, by the way, just an aside, don't put it in the box, write bad on it, and put it on your shelf. Why would you do that? Save yourself a step and put it in the garbage. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. There are other things that I checked that I can't even think of right now because I was in such a fog at the time. I slept on it about 3 times. Got up, had an idea, tried it, tested it. No, nothing. Went to the forums, went to the YouTube University. Okay, nothing. I came up dry, and the car doesn't start. So You know, these last couple episodes haven't finished on a high note. The last one, the taillights didn't work, but hey, we fixed that. That was a win this week. And this week, took the car out for its maiden voyage, and you know, whatever, 12 miles in, it died. And that's it. No sign as to why. Nothing. So, you'll have to find out what happens, because this is how we're going to leave this beautiful car, this frustrating episode. Not completely. I mean, we fixed the taillights. You know, that was a win. I had a great time driving it. That was a win for a few miles. The car, by the way, is extremely loud. Extremely loud. So, you know what they say, loud pipes save lives. And so I'm all about saving lives. But save your ears as well, and wear muffs or earplugs or something, because it's loud. It's pretty great. The transmission in it, so I've got 373 gears, but the transmission I bought with the intent that I wanted to be able to highway cruise it even with 373s. So the gear sets in it are a little different, and in fifth gear at 55 miles an hour, I'm like at 1800 RPMs. I mean, yeah. I guess I got what I wanted. I could technically run in fourth gear at 55. It's just extremely, extremely loud doing it that way. But yeah, it's great. It was great. We'll get a chance to drive it. I know I you know, took it out while you weren't here. But as we talked about, you'd have been stranded on the side of the road with me. So, and you wouldn't have seen me a very happy camper, you know? Oh, anyway, I'm glad that you're on this adventure with me, that you are spending time in the shop with me, and this is real life. This is not manufactured in any way, and I will figure it out. So I've got my buddy who has a garage shop, you know, works on cars for a living, new cars, newish, and he's got a scope, and so I'm going to bring it over there, and he's going to put it on the scope, see if the computer will talk to him, and try to figure this out. So to find that out, you'll have to come back for the next episode, not probably next week, but the next time, you know, hopefully the next time you see the car, it's running. That's all I'm trying to say. Hopefully the next time I see the car, it's running. Nope, I'm looking at it right now and it's not running, so I guess I didn't get my wish. Oh, again, great to have you here. I've got another episode coming on Mr. E, and that'll be dropping pretty quick, so you can, you know, hang out while we work on that beautiful car that also doesn't run, but not for the same reason. We'll see you next time.